Hey friends, welcome to today's video. This country Christmas Santa wreath was so cute. I loved how it turned out and I have got to make a video for it if you haven't seen it yet. Guys, my name is Tracy. I love to share crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm just like this project. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Let me share how I created this country wreath. Okay, this is going to be my cute Santa that I made as a wreath attachment for this cute wreath. Now, what I'm using is an ornament from the Dollar Tree as well as a Santa hat, the buffalo red and black check, and the faux fur is from Hobby Lobby, and the 1 3/4 inch balls are from Hobby Lobby. I got those on sale a couple of a few months ago when they were clearancing out some stuff anyway, but they are smooth on one side so that they will fit nicely on my Santa. Okay, so for the little tag, I'm just using my heat tool just to get that tag off. I'm not painting it or anything because the fur is going to cover everything up. And so the first thing I do is just kind of smooth out my fur, just kind of position it on my ornament where I want it to go. I'm kind of just arranging my hat, just kind of see where I want to lay everything before I glue it down. I'm going to want my beard to have, like a beard shape where it angles down. So I'm just kind of, was folding it down just to kind of get the shape that I want it before I cut it off. Now, I had just, bended it over and I'm using my box blade and I'm just taking my marker and just marking where I want to cut the felt. And the object is to cut the felt and not go all the way through to cut the fur actually itself. So I'm just taking my time. I'm going through and just an X-Acto knife or something else that might work, but this is just what I had on hand. And I'm just trying to cut through the fur and not like I'm trying to cut through the felt and not cut the fur to give it a choppy look. So I'm gluing my hat on now, just trying to figure out how far I want it down. I'm just using some stuffing that I got, from Walmart, something like that. An old sock would work, plastic bags, old rags, something like that. But this is just something that I had on hand. And I just kind of put some, I wanted that to give it a little bit of form. And so then now I glue on my nose, and I did that first because I wanted to ensure that I had the right placement before I glue on my beard. And I want my hat to kind of go down over the nose, and this is a 1 3/4 inch wooden ball that was flat on one side, and so I just want to make sure that everything is nice and where I want it to be before I glue everything down. For the top of my hat, I'm just bending over the tip of it and just kind of fluffing out the ball of the hat. I have two 30mm rusty jingle bells. Now, I had these on hand. I know that, Amazon has jingle bells, and there's other places that you can find them. I just have some wire that I just threaded them through and just tied them to the ball of the hat. I'm just kind of positioning it so that they are toward the top. And so I just have one of these garland ties that come from the Dollar Tree. I had it on hand. Everything that I'm working with is something that I had on hand from previous years. And so anyway, I had just cut a strip of muslin fabric and just tied it around the hat. And just now I'm just fooling with it just to kind of get my bells and my fabric, my garland, everything, positioned on the top. And then what I do is I glue it down there so it stays nice and, stays in spot, or stays in place right there. And so now, this is just the back of it. I'm just kind of taking off the fuzz. And anyway, so I'm looking at it because I'm like, yeah, that beard's a little bit too long. So I end up a little bit, before I attach it to the wreath, I end up cutting it a little bit more. Now I'm going to start on the wreath. I'm using an 18-inch wire form and these 3 10-inch deco mesh. The wire form is from the Dollar Tree and the deco mesh are all from Hobby Lobby. And I just roll them out. I roll them all 3 at one time. Everybody has their own, or each wreath maker has their own way of doing things. And I'm cutting these at 12 inches, and I cut all 3 at one time because I'm going to put all 3 of them together and put them into, or tie them onto the wreath. I actually made 24 bundles of these 3, and I'm just using the curl or cruffle technique. And how I do it, I just bend over the ends. I clip it with a little clamp that I get from the Dollar Tree and clamp that like that. I do each one of these the same way, and then I'm just going to layer them, crisscrossing them, make like an X pattern or a star or something like that. And and then I tie all 3 of these on the wreath, and like I said, I made 24 bundles. I just use some pipe cleaners and just attach them to the wreath form. On this one right here, I put the pipe cleaner on the inner ring, and then I go on the outer ring, and then I go on the inner ring. And so I kind of stagger it. And so that is kind of how I make my wreaths. Just kind of tie those on there like that. And the clips from those blue and white clips, I get from the Dollar Tree. I find them in the laundry section, and I love those clips, clamps, or whatever you want to call them, because they open very wide, and they help with streamlining and help just kind of hold things together, so that they kind of act as an extra pair of hands for me, or extra fingers. And I am all about convenience, I tell you. So I just love how full and how just all of this, I just love all of these different colors together. And because the Santa, was so big, I ended up using the 18-inch wire frame, and I'm so glad that I did. These are the ribbons I'm using in this wreath. The first 3 came from Hobby Lobby. The Merry Christmas burlap came from Sam's, and the red and black buffalo check I've had on hand for a couple of years, and that came from Dollar General. And so I cut these at 13 inches using my Perfect Tails ribbon helper. It kind of helps me with, twisting my ribbon around it, and then I can cut it all at one time, and then I dovetail it what I want. So what I'm showing you here is I put these 2 patterns together, and I help myself by kind of get my bundles together. I just put these 2 together, and then the other 3 I will make that a bundle. I use my tiny attacher, my little stapler. It is just a handy little tool that I use in my craft room that helps with my bow making. Since I have 24 bundles, I need 24 bundles of ribbon. So I have 12 of each. And so for these 3 right here, I'm just making a bow with some raffia, because I'm going to put that in the middle of that. And that is what I am, the raffia, that's what I'm putting in those bundles. And I just trim off the excess, and just hit it with some hot glue to kind of seal the middle of the where the pipe cleaner goes. And for the these larger jingle bells, I got these from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. I don't know what the millimeter is. It doesn't say it on the package, but they're large jingle bells. They were in the like miniature ornament section, and so I'm going to put these jingle bells in the middle of with the burlap Merry Christmas and the window pane ribbon. And so it was 6 of these jingle bells in this package. I've had them on, like I said, I got them when they were like clearancing out all of their stuff, many years ago. I pick up this kind of primitive country stuff, and so I had it on hand, so I am using it for this wreath because I think it just all ties everything together. So my point is, just be on the lookout, even at thrift stores, Goodwill, yard sales, marketplace on Facebook. People are always clearancing out stuff. And, check Amazon. They may have some of these large jingle bells as well. So I just alternated on the just put the ribbon bundles in the top and the bottom, and then I just trim everything with my little scissors and fluff everything out. And so I just love this. I just love the whole country feel of this wreath. I'm really happy the way that it turned out. And so I always try to, fluff my ribbons out so that they're not stuck underneath. Okay, so then now I'm going to put on my Santa, and I'm like, yep, that beard is a little bit too long. So I go through the same thing again, just using my box blade and just cutting off, the felt and just kind of tearing it as I go, not to cut the fur itself so that it still is wispy. To attach my Santa to the wreath, I'm using these cable tie mounts. Now these are listed in my Amazon store. I will have a link to that in the description box below if you're interested in these things that kind of help us attach these signs to our wreaths if you don't have, if they don't have holes in it. And so they are sticky already, but I like extra glue to give it extra bonding because I don't want my signs to fall off. And so I just use E6000 and as well as some hot glue. So just using the pipe cleaners, I just threaded it through the mesh back to the frame, twisted it around the wire frame just so that everything is nice and snug. And then I'm just making sure that my Santa is where I wanted him to be. Now, guys, I'm going to put a note on this that I would not recommend this to be in the weather elements because of the fur, because with weather elements it gets all nasty. Anyway, I would just have it for inside use. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I have this pine, and it's faux pine. I've had it in my stash. It had a Hobby Lobby tag, so it's probably something I got last season. This silver thing right here, this is a stem cutter I got from Deco Exchange. I will have a link for it. It's an affiliate link that I'm going to list in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out. I had used some birthday money this past year to purchase it because it just has made my life so much easier. It's like a wire cutter, but I can just use it right there on my table, and I don't have to struggle with my wire cutters. Anyway, so with this pine, I'm just I had cut it all down nice. And so I used my steel picks machine to put a steel pick on the end of it, and then also my hot glue. I like to use the combination when I'm using putting it in deco mesh wreaths like this, because it makes everything nice and snug. And if you saw my son's hands, he was in my room hanging out with me. I love that time like that. He was giving me his suggestions of where my holes were, and so I really appreciate it. Guys, I didn't add a little sign. I thought about painting a sign and adding it to it, but I didn't get to it. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it needs a little sign? If so, what do you think it should say? Does it look good without a sign like this? Let me know below. If you suggest a sign, give me some suggestions of what you think it should say. Merry Christmas, or ho ho ho, welcome. I'm not quite sure. I love the way that this turned out, and I hope that you do too. I hope it's inspired you to create one for yourself. All right, guys, thank you so much for your sweet comments, your support of my channel. We will talk to you all very soon. God bless.